Hey y'all, you get to hear me again. What up? Hello. Hi y'all, what's up? This is ASTRODIM'S here. We're talking about Jupiter going into Capricorn, okay? Yes, rolling the R's. Jupiter going into Capricorn. Hey, this is some exciting times. Aren't you guys excited? I am, yes. Now, most of y'all are not excited, and I get it, because, Jupiter in Capricorn's not the best spot to be. But, luckily for people with prominent Capricorn energy, is actually going to be kind of good for us personally. I would say, though, like I have feeling that is going, even though Jupiter in Capricorn is not the best, like I think it's still going to help the collective in positive ways. All right, so let's just go ahead and talk about this. All right, so Jupiter went into Capricorn yesterday, basically December 2nd, 2019 at like 1:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time-ish. Like everyone keeps giving it a different time and I'm not sure which one it is. Like literally depending on the website that you go on, it is a different time, and these are trusted websites, so I'm like, okay, whatever, like around 1-ish around 1-ish Eastern Standard Time. Okay, now this is really significant because Jupiter just came into its home sign, which is Sagittarius. And so like, a lot of people felt that they was able to benefit. Their luck was on their side, that Jupiter felt comfortable. And because Jupiter felt comfortable in Sagittarius, that it was easier to access Jupiter energy at this time. You get what I'm saying? And so a lot of people was feeling Jupiter in Sag. They thought it was a good look. It was very helpful for them. Even with me, I can't say that it was a nice time for me. It wasn't as extravagant as other people made it seem to be, but it was you know what I'm saying? That's why I like to give y'all like the truth, and I don't like to like give y'all like these dreams and wishes of how like a placement will be, because honestly, life is what you make it. I've seen people become very successful in some fucked up times, and yes, it was hard for them to get that success when astrologically the time was like all fucked up, but they were able to work with it. You get what I'm saying? So life is what you make it, my nigga. All right, that's really, really important for you to see and understand. Okay, but with all that being said, though, Jupiter and Sag, it is easier to access the Jupiterian, I guess, energies of specifically of like picking up and understanding different philosophies, beliefs, ideas, cultures, anything that's foreign and different from you, to see how it could benefit you personally, and see how it could benefit you with understanding the collectiveness of us all, and how to relate to people through their differences and stuff like that. So it's very beautiful energy for sure. It was really nice. Of course, Jupiter and Sagittarius is both connected to good fortune and abundance. So a lot of people got their abundance and stuff like that. But like I can say during this time personally, I was able to really have a greater understanding and speak up on my knowledge too, when it came to different and foreign beliefs that were like different from mine or different from what I came from. You know what I mean? And so it was dope energy. Jupiter and Sag, is in my 10th and in my 11th. And my, I didn't have like a huge ass following on Twitter, but it went definitely during that time. It went from literally 200 followers to 6,000. And like, so that's huge for me, at least, for someone who just don't post that often, who like says their shit and bounce, who's not consistent. That was, you know what I mean? I'm just being honest. And so, cause I got other shit to do, you know what I mean? And I'm honestly, y'all, what I'm going to say for sure is that like, I'm lightening my load so I can spend more time and be more consistent. But for me to like during that time to have my shit pop up like that, even though it's not as significant as other people's, like still is significant to me. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Because I didn't post as much. I'm very inconsistent. So I thought that was really dope. You know what I mean? And then and also in my 11th house, and I'm finding my circle. I'm finding my people. Like, I've met so many people when Jupiter finally popped into my 11th that are like-minded, beautiful people inside and out. So Jupiter does give you luck, especially when it's in Sagittarius. You know what I mean? It comes easily. It just kind of revolves into your energy field. It's kind of dope. You know what I mean? So it's nice energy. It's cool. And, a lot of people had opportunities to travel. A lot of people had opportunities to study. A lot of people had opportunities to learn about things that are foreign and different from them. And I definitely did myself. And it really changed my view on certain philosophies and beliefs. So it was a dope time. However, we're not in that time anymore, okay? Jupiter is in Capricorn. Shout out to all my Capricorns. I'm a Capricorn sun, so I got to represent real quick. All right. And this time is going to be a little bit different. So technically, right? Jupiter in Capricorn, that's where Jupiter falls in Capricorn, okay? So just to let y'all know, Jupiter falls in Capricorn. It's exalted in Cancer. And then Jupiter is at home in Sagittarius, and it's at its detriment in Gemini, I believe. I believe it's Gemini. Let me double check on that. But I think that's it, though. Let me double check. Hold on 1 second. Yep, fallen Gemini. Bam. Go to me. Go to me. Go to me. Okay, so yeah. So yeah, that's it. So I think it, actually, you know what? A lot of people said Capricorn is not its fault. It's depressed in Capricorn. And yeah, it's depressed in Capricorn. But no, I'll say it's depressed in Gemini. I think that's what it is. Anyways, regardless, it ain't good in Capricorn. That's what it is. And so, like, it's funny because, like, when I was first doing astrology and I was reading into the exaltation and depression and stuff like that, like I recognized the truth within it. But when it came to people who had this natally, and I focused on like natal and synastry charts back in the day, I used to be like, well, that's I don't want people. I feel like a lot of people that have like fall energy or detriment energy, they were still able to access the planet energy pretty well due to other things, you know what I mean? And so I used to stray away from using those terms. But honestly, there is a lot of truth into them. Because, okay, let's break it down like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break down what Jupiter means and what Capricorn means, and you can see why it doesn't work in this energy, okay? So Jupiter represents, again, anything that's foreign and different from you. You know what I mean? And learning about it, meeting people within it, understanding how we're all connected through it. It's beautiful energy, right? Anything that's foreign and different from you, that's beliefs, concepts, ideas, philosophies, religions, all that, right? So it's connected to all those things. It's also connected to higher learning. It's also connected to being more adventurous, following your passions and desires unapologetically. It has that vibe to it. The energy is fire. So there's that like following your desires and motivation is that fire energy right there. And it's mutable. And so mutable is very flexible. So that's why I say it's, you're doing it unapologetically, because that's how Jupiter and Sag-y energy is like, you know what I mean? Another thing too is that this energy is connected to luck and good fortune. Now, the reason why it's connected to luck and good fortune is because of how the energy works. It's fire and it's mutable. Remember what I said, mutable energy is really good at manifesting because they naturally let go and let God. They can't help it. Fire energy is the fastest element. So if you let go and let God very, very fast, using all your desires and energy like that, right? Then bam, you are the luckiest. That's why Jupiter is known for the luckiest planet. Sag is known for the luckiest sign. It's because of that. So you see that energy, right? Now let's describe Capricorn. Capricorn is about like authority, and control. Not control of really other people, but control over self. Now, I always say this about Capricorn people, and people like always say Capricorn always are trying to control things. That is not true. Capricorn is trying to control themselves and trying to have authority over themselves. Now, if that means that I got to put some control and reins onto you, then so be it. But Capricorns would rather not restrict people because they want people to be able to be on top of whatever they want to do too. But if that means that they have to put some reins onto you and control you so they can be on top, they will do so. You know what I mean? But this energy is all about authority and control. It's not free and letting go and like mutable energy. It's not based off of passions, based off of practicality. You know what I mean? What's the right thing to do? What can we do to fix this thing or to keep this thing going? Like, that's how the energy is. It's very grounded energy, you know, not so free and flowing. And another thing too, mutable energy is like, okay, I had this experience, I'm letting it go, this is the next one. Carnal energy is like, I see a goal, I'm rushing to it, and I'm doing action to reach it and to reach that goal. You know what I mean? It's literally taking action. And so these energies are really, really different from each other. It's not being free. It's not working with your passion. It's being practical and doing the necessary work to get it done. You see how they're very different from each other? All right. So this is why Jupiter really falls in this energy. You know what I mean? It's a little difficult because you're telling Jupiter to not be passionate. You're telling Jupiter to be practical. You're telling Jupiter to not be mutable, flexible, let go and let God. You're telling Jupiter to work, and Jupiter's like, I don't want to do that. And so that's why we're at falls. And so as a collective, you know, a lot of people are going to feel weird. They're going to feel like their luck energy is not so free flowing like it was when Jupiter was in Sag. They feel like that they're understanding different philosophies and beliefs freely and openly and connected to their passion is not as easy because there's work involved. Now, the thing is, Jupiter energy is still Jupiter energy. You know what I mean? Jupiter energy still is about passion and desire. It's still connected to, you know, different philosophies and beliefs. It's still connected to, good luck and good fortune. But you know, the planet is the what, the sign is the how. So you can obtain these things through having authority and control over your situation. Do you feel what I'm saying? And so in order to obtain the Jupiter energy, step up and do the work that's necessary. Now, this is a tricky thing about Capricorn energy too. All right. This is why you shouldn't listen to all Capricorns when it comes to this type of energy, right? And this is like so for any placement. Like when Jupiter's in Aquarius, don't listen to all Aquarius when it comes to how to work this Aquarian energy with Jupiter, right? This is why. The lesson for Capricorn is finding authority and control over oneself, right? And a lot of times with Capricorn energy, they think having authority and control over oneself is following the path that already has been made, right? Following the rules that already has been set up, doing what other people say to do, following authority. Because the authority is the authority for a reason. So maybe if I follow what they say or do what they do, then I can figure it out. That's not how you do it, Caps. All right. And I understand, like, you appreciate tradition. I understand that we appreciate, like, authority. When authority is doing right, that's key. You know what I mean? Capricorn's not going to just blindly follow something. They will follow it and do what they need to do to try to fix it. Think about Martin Luther King, okay, boo-boo? All right. So Martin Luther King's a Capricorn. He followed the rules, but he made some motherfucking changes. Okay. All right. That's how Capricorns move, right? But the thing is, though, is that we need to have authority and control of ourselves. That includes not letting anyone tell you what your placement is, what your worth is, where you should be at in life. Is you taking control of it and pushing it through and doing what you got to do. You know what I mean? And so, you know, this energy, like you have to have authority control over self, and don't let anyone tell you how to go about life. You know, that's really important. So again, in order for you to obtain the Jupiter energy, right, of the foreign travel and enjoying yourself and philosophies and beliefs and ideas and learning about different cultures and getting that good luck and connecting with your passions and being adventurous and spontaneous and stuff like that. You need to have authority over the situation that you are a part of, the situation that you are in, whatever Jupiter and Capricorn is in your chart. Okay, so for instance, with me, Jupiter and Capricorn is in my 11th house right now. So in order for me to obtain that good luck, that foreign travel, that freeness, that fun, I need to have authority and control over the network that is around me, the people who are around me. You know, I need to have authority and control over my dreams and aspirations. I need to have authority and control over my wealth and what I can gain through my wealth and how I can obtain my wealth. I need to have control over it. I should not listen to anybody else. I should not be under anybody else. You can be under people, but still you have to have your own path. You get what I'm saying? You can't just blindly follow people, blindly follow a path that just seemed right because it worked for somebody else. It may not work for you. Do you understand? So that's how it kind of works. So you guys get what I'm saying? I hope you do. All right. So that's what's tricky about the Capricorn energy, is that Capricorn energy tends to just follow the rules sometimes. And because that's what worked for other people, but you need to kind of create your own path. You need to have the control over the situation. You need to go ahead and do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Trust me with this, because, you know, not only am I a Capricorn who's in their 30s, I'm a Capricorn that has Sun in the 12th. Okay? So, like, I really had to learn how to motherfucking surrender. And I'm still learning. You feel what I'm saying? And so trust me on this one. I wouldn't steer you wrong, boo-boos, okay? So that's really, really important. It's 222 right now. So I think that's the angel's telling me, yep, go listen to that, girl. All right. So that's what how I would break down the energy, honestly. Now I do want to kind of talk about, you know, certain my experience with Jupiter and Capricorn, okay? Now, a lot of people was like, oh, it's Jupiter and Capricorn. This is going to be the wackest time ever. We got to work so hard and I want to work hard. Again, you don't have to work hard. Like, yes, cardinal energy is about taking action. I get that, right? But the thing is, you just need to when you gain authority over self and you feel it deep within, you know what I mean? You're going to be straight. Like, things are going to fall into place. So yes, you need to work hard on your inner self. You know what I mean? Think about the signs before Capricorn in the same element, right? Taurus is about building your self-worth. Virgo is about making sure your routine in day-to-day life and yourself is just organized, and then you reach to the top where you need to be. You get to the authority and control. Maybe you have to fall back and rewind and build that worth within you. Make sure your day-to-day is good. Then you can really get the essence of that Capricorn energy of having the authority and control over your life. You know what I mean? You have to if you want to have that authority and control, you have to believe so. You have to believe that I can have that authority and control. I deserve that authority and control. I am worthy of it. My day-to-day life represents it. You know what I'm saying? So that's really, really important. But what I wanted to talk about, though, was that, like, how my Jupiter and Capricorn times were very ranging. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like it was like quite up and down for me. And as you guys know, I like to look at the placements of when the exact moment in which Jupiter went into Capricorn, like what placements, where were the placements, basically? Like, what was Jupiter aspecting at that time? I think it's very important for us to do that because it's marking the beginning. It's like the birth chart of Jupiter in Capricorn for 2019 and this go around. So I think that's really important to do that. And I think that energy is going to tell you and show you how this Jupiter and Capricorn is going to be for you personally, transit wise. And then you can go ahead and look deeper and see how Jupiter and Capricorn is going to be for you personally, by taking what Jupiter and Capricorn is at 0 degrees and actually look. Sorry, y'all. So what I was trying to basically say was that what I wanted to do was, I think you guys should do, is treat the moment in which Jupiter entered into Capricorn as a birth chart, and then compare the placements of of the rest of the planets, and look at the aspects of how it is like the day that it happened, as well as compare 0 degrees Jupiter and Capricorn. Compare that energy and see if it's making any aspects to your natal chart, and that will show you how the overall experience of Jupiter and Capricorn is going to affect you this go around. You feel what I'm saying? All right, so I actually did that not with my natal chart, but with the specific placements of each year that Jupiter was in Capricorn in my life, you know what I mean? So that was 2 other times with me. So I just want to generally talk about it a little bit. So the first time Jupiter was in Capricorn for me was around January 3rd, 1996. Yep, I know. You're like, what? I know I look like I'm young, but I'm 30, about to be 32, guys, next month. So, yeah, I just black don't crack, all right? So, yeah, so at that time, the moment in which Jupiter got into Capricorn, Jupiter was semi-sextile Uranus, Jupiter was semi-sextile Mercury, Jupiter was semi-sextile Pluto, and Jupiter was square the nodes in Aries and in Libra. North Node was in Libra at the time. And so with that energy, very, very interesting time, because semi-sextiles are really not that bad. They're like a better version of inconjunctions, or quincunx, whatever you like to say it, where there is some confusion and a little bit of irritation, because one energy doesn't get another energy, but at least they're of the same season, so at least there's a general theme, you know what I mean, of pushing energy of collective consciousness, because the collective group, or the collective season of signs is Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And so usually, like semi-sextile energy, they're of the same season, or they're, a sign is going to be is transitioning to that season. You understand what I'm saying? And so, for instance, Jupiter was semi-sextile Uranus. Uranus was at 29 degrees Capricorn. Mercury was semi-sextile as well. Mercury was at 1 degrees Aquarius. And then Pluto was semi-sextile Jupiter as well. Pluto was at 2. Pluto was at 2 degrees Sagittarius. And so, you see they're of the similar season or the same season. And so there's this general theme of like pushing towards the collective, working through the collective, understanding your position within the collective. You know what I mean? And I can say in general, I experienced similar energies. First of all, it wasn't that bad for me because my niece was born that year, actually a month after that time. So it was cool times. I was another auntie. I was an auntie to another baby, which was nice. It was my second niece, my youngest niece, and so that was fun, right? I was in the 2nd grade at the time, and it's so funny because I was totally confused with the curriculum at the time. I did well generally, right? But we were learning cursive. We were learning like, division and multiplication. Like it was like, the big kid type of learning. And I was like, it took me a while to grasp some of it. Not really the math that much. I remember I struggled with division, and I also struggled a little bit growing up with the big multiplication, where you have to like not multiplication, the big subtractions, where it's like this big ass like tens of thousands. For some reason, like I don't know why, I was having a hard time. But that semi-sextile energy really can really express that energy, especially with the semi-sextile Mercury, where I just wasn't getting it, but I knew that it was important. I knew that it was necessary, but it was hard for me to grasp that energy. So that kind of made sense. And with the squares of the energy as well, I had to learn how to build relationships at the time, and not to focus on self, because North Node was in Libra, South Node was in Aries. And with Capricorn and Jupiter is kind of like, you okay bitch, but you need to kind of like build and bring yourself to the status that you want to be, like, you know what I mean? And so it's really interesting energy, because like ever since I was a kid, I'm a Capricorn, so I was kind of into the energy of Jupiter, of trying to be of a certain status, because like I wanted to always be like the best of something, you know what I mean? Like I just liked being like really, I liked excelling. You know what I mean? That was a thing of mine. Ever since I was a kid, I liked excelling. And yeah, I had my friends and everything, but like I kind of was like, yeah, okay, I guess, whatever. Like you're my friend, so I could play with you in recess, but then it's back to the books, like just a typical Capricorn kid. And so I don't quite remember like the relationships I had at that time. Like when it comes to like friendships and stuff, but it was, I can see how like me really wanting just to excel to school was making it hard for me to follow the North Node at the time, which was to build relationships, you know what I mean? So really interesting energy for sure. I wish I remembered 96 a little bit more, but I don't, so there's that. But let's talk about the one I really do remember, the time in which Jupiter was in Capricorn, as of like most recently, not this time, but the time before, was December 18th, 2007. At that time, Jupiter was conjunct Pluto, conjunct Mercury, conjunct the Sun, all right, sextile North Node, and opposite Mars. Man, at that time, Jesus Christ, that was a really tough time for me, y'all. That was a really tough time for me. And it was going so well. You know what I mean? It was going so well. Like, so at that time, I just transferred from American University in DC to Bentley. I moved up to Bentley mostly because like I had a boyfriend and I wanted to be closer to him, and being DC was tough. And I like, this was a guy that I knew since middle school, you know what I mean? So I had mad love for him, and I was like, you know what, I'll do that. That's actually one of the biggest mistakes I made in my life, honestly. I should have stayed in DC or went to a different city, but at that time I felt like that was the right thing to do, and I wanted to be near my boyfriend, all that corny shit. So so I was at that time I was like in this new school or whatever, and I had a huge family change. I'm not going to speak on, because it's not just my business, it's business of other family members, but a huge family change that was totally unjust, totally fucked up, and totally not fair, that we're still dealing with. And it started around that week, and I don't have the exact date on when it started, but it was around that time. And it was a huge adjustment. It fucked up the holiday. It was just really difficult. Very, very difficult. That around that time too, a friend of the family got murdered over some bullshit. So that was another fucked up thing. And actually during that time too, my best friend at the time was doing some shady-ish weird shit with my boyfriend, and I still don't know what the fuck happened, but they were way too close and it was awkward and strange. So it was like a weird ass time for me. I actually my body started to change a lot too. I think around that time I think was when I first, I got sick. I had a stomach virus, and then I had to take antibiotics, and it was around that time I had to take antibiotics, and that was the first time I took antibiotics, and it fucked my body up so bad. It was it was me having my first responsibilities of going to the doctor myself, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and I was just listening to the doctor, taking shit, and it my body was literally never the same ever since that time too. So it was a weird ass time. And with Jupiter conjunct Pluto, conjunct Mercury, conjunct the Sun, this is all within my all within my 10th, 11th, 12th house, I think. You know what I mean? So it was just crazy ass time. It was not lovely. It was a weird ass time for me. But it was conjunct Pluto, so it just screams that transformation of authority, right? I did change my authority a lot during that time, Oh, actually, no. Yeah, I'm right, sorry. Yeah, I changed my authority at that time because I was starting to get my own responsibilities. It was conjunct Mercury. I had to learn to speak up for myself a little bit more. And it was just it didn't just me just doing little bits of things to speak up for myself more. I just had this huge responsibility, and it was bam. You know what I mean? Here, take the authority now. And it was just because Jupiter, it represents abundance too, so it was all in my face. It was conjunct the Sun, it definitely affected my vitality, my energy started to fuck up real bad at that time. It's because all the fucking pills that they were pushing me when I was a kid. I didn't realize I wasn't a kid. I was 19 I was 19 at the time. So, I was 19, about to be 20. And so, I was just it was just a new experience for me. It was really difficult. And I didn't feel I had the help that I would have liked, but it was kind of well, you're responsible now. And it's damn, man, can I get a transitional period? It was really tough, y'all. I struggled, honey. It was really tough. But yeah, it was just speaking of taking that authority, but with Jupiter there making all those conjunctions, it was that authority was pushed on me, and with abundance, you know what I mean? So that was really interesting. The family friend that got murdered was a friend of a sibling, but he ended up being very close to the family. And so with that energy conjunct Mercury too, the transformation was involved with my sibling too, so Mercury is connected with siblings. It was weird, y'all. It was a weird time. And that whole year, you see how that whole year kind of was connected to these energies of transformation, of speaking up for myself, of having authority. Because even with the situation with the my ex-best friend and my ex, right? That was my first boyfriend, by the way. So this is just me just learning how to deal with relationships and intimacy. Pluto represents intimacy, by the way. And Sun is representing dating. So this, of course, my dating life is involved in this situation. But I had to learn how to speak up for myself and not let things just pass. Because I used to have this way about me, and I still kind of do. I just let things ride, and I watch how people act. You know what I mean? I let things ride half because I just want to see people's reactions. But a chunk of it too is me not wanting to disturb the peace. I'm the type of person, I'll admit I'm a ghoster. And I ghost because it's well, I already know nothing's going to change my mind. You saying your piece, I feel you're just going to be gaslighting me and trying to ignore my feelings. So I'm just going to excuse myself. That's just how I am. And even when I make my own conclusions, I give people a lot of chances internally. When I make my own conclusions, there's nothing that you can say to get me out of that thought. That's just how I am. Does there need to be improvement with that? Probably, but it ain't happening anytime soon, because My intuition always has been strong, and I'm really learning to use my intuition more instead of like giving people chances. You know what I mean? And so, like, instead of having the whole let's have a talk, like, I'm like, there's no need for me to talk. I'm just gonna excuse myself out of the situation. It's probably not the most mature way to do it, but I like it, and that's how I handle stuff. And people are different, and it's okay for people to be different and react to things differently. Yeah. Again, like, I'm not saying like it's like the quote unquote like politically correct or whatever. Like, you know, I do suggest people to talk things out, but you know, when it came to that situation, y'all, these are not the type of people that would talk things out. These are the type of people who would like try to make excuses for themselves and gaslight your feelings and make you feel like you're crazy. You know what I mean? And so there's certain people that I would talk things out with, but if you are like one of them gaslighter type of peoples, I just excuse myself. You know, like, I'll talk things out with my siblings if they want to. I'll talk things out with like people who I have certain friends that I can talk things out with if we ever have a dispute, and I know that they'll be honest and won't be trying to like front. But my friends back in those days, they just gaslighting motherfuckers. They really were. And so, like, you know, I just had to kind of handle things that way. And so it was just like, it was a lot, y'all. It was really interesting. And so, you know, just looking at these placements, it was like really a thing that I had to deal with that next 18 months or however long Jupiter, because sometimes some signs Jupiter is 18 months, sometimes a little bit shorter, but like, some signs, yeah. So like, yeah, like during that whole Jupiter and Capricorn moment, and for that year, for those few months, not few months, for that moment, okay, for that transit, I had to deal with a lot of things connected to those placements. You know what I mean? It was a big theme within my life. All those planets at that time were near my 11th house or in my 11th house, you know? So it's kind of like, wow, like right on the fucking money. I had a huge friendship change. I had a huge change within, you know, family of friends, which is involved in the 11th house too. So very, very interesting energy. Jupiter was opposite Mars. Now, usually if someone would do me dirty, like back in those days, I'll be like, listen, like, I will fight you. That's how I used to be during those days. I'm way more chill now. But with Jupiter opposite Mars, like, it made me hold, especially with Jupiter retrograde at the time, it made me hold back and not take action in that type of way. So yeah, it was really interesting ass energy during that time. It was tough, and the reason why it was tough was because of that conjunction. All of that conjunction, it was just like, you gotta step up, you gotta change, you gotta transform, you gotta, like, here's all this responsibility. It was just dumped onto me, you know what I mean? Very interesting time. So if we look at the placements of like this go around, right, it don't seem that bad. So I think this time it's not going to be as dramatic, right? So Jupiter was sextile the moon, square Chiron, which is really interesting, and then trine Uranus. And so this go around, what I would say is that you know, you're gonna, especially with Uranus being in Taurus, you know, we're going to as a collective appreciate our uniqueness and really expound on it, really find the worth within our uniqueness, our individuality, our quirks, things that make us different, find the right people that should be around us, and build up on it, see the worth within our network, see the worth within our friends, see the work within our dreams, within our uniqueness and everything, and then try to create worth with it, whether it's emotional worth or material worth. And Jupiter's going to help us expand on that, help us find things that are foreign and different from us to help us focus on the worthiness within our uniqueness. So it's dope ass energy, and it's going to be random blessings coming out of nowhere. with that energy as well. But a big part of that is that Uranus is retrograde. And so the blessings are really going to happen. Really, really going to happen when you understand the worthiness of your uniqueness and what makes you different and your quirkiness and your weirdness. That's when the blessings will start to pop off. So definitely keep that in mind, okay? Another thing too, with this energy sextile the moon, we're going to really be able to channel our emotions. Our emotions are going to expand with that Jupiter energy, but we're going to be able to channel our emotions better to learn things that are foreign and different from us, as unique to us, that will help us build on our lives, to bring abundance within our lives, but to also to help us learn how to be emotionally intelligent and emotionally mature. So that's another beautiful thing as well. And then also with Jupiter square Chiron, tough ass lessons with our childhood traumas that we're going to have to face, okay? With Chiron and Aries, a lot of people are going to face the issues that we've had connected to being bullied for our personality, our persona, our appearance, being ridiculed for our motivation and drives and our passions, right? We're going to face these things head the fuck on. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And it's like, the thing is that you're going to want to expand your life, and your status, your reputation, your career. But Chiron's going to be like, listen, you got to address these issues from within before you do that. You know what I mean? Like, you got to address it. And it's going to be an issue. And it's going to be like hitting you in the head, hitting you in the head, hitting you in the head, until Jupiter in Chiron is not aspecting anymore. And that's when that realization is going to happen. And that's when you're going to be able to understand, okay, all of this was happening. I was like being stabbed with these and reminded with these traumas, because I need to address them. And I did it. I was able to address them. And now I can go ahead and be successful. But that moment's not going to really happen until Jupiter and Chiron's not squaring anymore. Okay? So definitely keep that in mind. What else I had to say? The moon was in Pisces and still is in Pisces right now when that happened. So that's real cute. Yeah, that's real cute. Oh, actually, no, I lied. The moon was in Aquarius, but it was still sextile. Sorry for that lie. And I'll say with that, because it looks like it's a 7-degree orb. Yeah, it was a 7-degree orb. So I'll say with that, I think that's pretty dope energy, because with Aquarius being with the moon being in Aquarius, right? The moon is really in Aquarius. It's like, as a lot of people that like have this placement and deal with the transit with moon Aquarius, like that you have a lot of emotions, but you try to detach from them. And so I feel like with Jupiter sextiling it, you're going to learn how to deal with your detachment issues of your emotions and learn how to work with those deep, heavy, crazy emotions that's within that you keep repressing and trying to detach from. And I think certain philosophies, beliefs, ideas, cultures, things that are foreign and different from you, different learnings, all of that is going to help you address those issues that you tend to try to detach from, those emotions that you tend to detach from, So I think this is going to be a healing time for us, and it's going to heal us so we can really be at the spot that we need to be in, that we aspire to be in, So yeah, that's what I got for y'all niggas. I hope this was helpful. So you see what I did with that energy. I want you guys to do the same. Reflect on the last time in which Jupiter was in Capricorn, and see if you can figure out how Jupiter being in Capricorn is going to affect you this go around. Just because Jupiter in Capricorn sucked last time, and for a lot of people it was tough. It was a huge transformation, huge transformation, because Pluto was involved. It was being pushed to get towards authority, just because it was tough, the past time doesn't mean it's going to be tough this time. It actually looks like it's going to be a lot easier, but it's going to be us reflecting a lot on our childhood traumas that we need to pay attention to in order to be successful. All right, I think that's going to be the only issue. Everything else is going to be pretty good. So I think I'm very hopeful for this Jupiter in Capricorn, even though it's at a fall. Even though Jupiter is not going to be as free and open as it typically is, we can streamline that positive energy of Jupiter, so we can really get the dreams that we want. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's gonna be all that bad, y'all. I mean, I'm happy. Because I think what I really think it's going to do, honestly, y'all, is going to give us some bit of relief with this Pluto and Saturn being in Capricorn. It is. It's going to give us some relief. And so that's something I'm looking forward to. Especially because Venus is up in there too. We need that relief. You know what I mean? We need it. So I'm actually excited about that. I'm excited that Jupiter is in my sign, my sun sign. I'm ready for that expansion and abundance. I am. But honestly, it seems like this is going to be straight for everybody, but it's going to be pretty fortunate and pretty good for the Capricorns, I think so. All right, y'all. But that's just my take on it. Let me know what y'all think. Feel free to send me a message, holla at me or whatever. Send me your questions. I'll be glad to answer and all that jazz, all right? Much love, y'all. Peace.